Hello dear students, welcome back to Karim's Biology. This is class 9 biology and we have been discussing the lesson cell, its structure and functions. So in this session, I am going to explain you about plastids, their structure and functions, and we will also be discussing about different types of plastids and their functions in a cell. So let us start our session. First of all, let us know what are plastids. Plastids are special type of organelles which are in different shapes. They may be oval shaped, spherical shaped, or they may be disc shaped. But one important thing about the plastids is that they are found only in plant cells and they are absent in animal cells. Now let us see what are different types of plastids. Depending on the color that the plastids impart to the plant part and also the functions that the plastids perform, they are classified into three different categories. Okay, and this classification of plastids is purely based on the color that they give and also the type of function that they perform in the cells. Okay, and what are those three types? They are leucoplasts, chromoplasts and chloroplasts. So you can see here, plastids, they are categorized into three different categories. The first category is called leucoplast. So plast refers to plastids. Leuco means white. Okay. And that means that these plastids, they are colorless. Okay, and you can see the picture here. So this is the picture showing the leucoplast. And the second type of plastids are called chromoplasts. Chromo refers to color. We all know that chromo refers to color. So the plastids that are colorful, they are called chromoplasts, and these chromoplasts, they are going to impart color to the different parts of the plant that we will be discussing within a short while. Next, last category and the most important type of plastids are called chloroplasts. Chloro means green color. Chloro means green, and as these plastids are in green color, they are called chloroplasts. Okay, so this is the picture of chloroplast, and we will be discussing in detail about the structure of the chloroplast because it is one of the most important part of the plant cell. Okay, now first let us discuss about leucoplasts. Okay, it is the first category of plastids. Leuco means white, as I told you. Then let us find out what is the important function of this leucoplast. They are colorless, as I told you earlier. Okay, and why they are colorless? They are colorless because they do not have any substance which give color to them. Okay, and what do we call the substance that give color in living organisms? The substance that gives color is called a pigment. For example, you knew about hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a red colored pigment which gives a red color to RBC, and chlorophyll is another substance, another pigment which is in green color, and it gives green color to the plant parts. These are called pigments. And leucoplasts, they are colorless because they do not have any pigment in them. Remember children, the color of the cell depends upon the presence of pigment, and even these plastids, the color of the plastid depends upon the type of pigment that they have. And the leucoplasts, as they do not have any type of pigment, they are colorless, right? Okay, and now let us see what is the function of the leucoplast. The major function of the leucoplast is they store starch in them. So what is starch? Do you know what is starch? Starch is a complex carbohydrate. You know that plants perform photosynthesis and prepare glucose. The glucose, if the plant wants to store, the glucose will be converted to starch, and starch granules are formed which will be stored in the plant cells. For example, you see here, there is a potato here, and the cells of potatoes, they contain leucoplasts which contain this starch in them. Okay, not only starch, leucoplast can also store proteins, they also store oils and fats. Okay, right? So the major function of the leucoplast is to store the food material. Right, that's about the leucoplast. And the second category of the plastids are called chromoplasts. As I told you earlier, chromo refers to color, right? And I told you that leucoplasts are colorless as they do not have any pigment in them. Now chromoplasts, they have color because certainly they will be having pigments in them, right? These are variously colored. They may be yellow colored or orange or red colored. That's why they are called chromoplasts. And what is that behind the color of these plastids? As I told you that only pigments are going to give the color to the plastids. So these chromoplasts, they have pigments in them which are xanthophylls and carotenoids. Not only these two, there are some other types of pigments present in them. It is due to the presence of pigments, chromoplasts, they appear in different colors. And where are they located? The chromoplasts, they are located in the plant parts which are colorful. Actually, it is because of the presence of these chromoplasts, different parts of the plant, they get color, right? For example, xanthophyll. If the chromoplasts contain xanthophyll, that part of the plant will be yellow. And if a chromoplast contain carotene, then that will be giving orange and red color, right? Where are these chromoplasts present? They are present in the plant parts which are colorful, right? And even in the flowers, you know that the petals of these flowers are colorful. This color to these petals is imparted because of the presence of these chromoplasts that contain different pigment molecules such as xanthophylls and carotenes, right? Like that of hemoglobin in the human blood, these two are also pigment molecules that give color to various parts of the plant. Okay, that's about the chromoplasts. Now let's come to the most important and significant cell organelle, which is called chloroplasts. I told you that chloroplasts, they are in green color. Now let us see what is this chloroplast. They are most common plastids. They are in green color as they have a pigment called chlorophyll. As I told you earlier, that different pigments impart a different color to the plastids. Okay, and chloroplasts, they are in which color? Chloro means green. As they are in green color, they are called chloroplasts. Then what is that which gives green color to these chloroplasts? I told you that pigments are responsible for imparting color. Then what is the pigment which imparts green color to these plastids? Yes, it is a pigment called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green colored substance which is present in the leaves. But where exactly in the leaves? In the cells of the leaves within the chloroplast, this chlorophyll is present. It is because of the chlorophyll, chloroplasts appear in green color. Right? Now let us see where these chloroplasts are found. They are found only in the plant parts that are exposed to sunlight. For example, leaves. Yes, this is one tricky thing here. Where are they found? They are found in the plant parts that are exposed to sunlight. Let us recall about leucoplasts. Leucoplasts are the plastids which store the food material. So leucoplasts are found in the places or in the parts of the plant where the food is stored. But what about the chloroplasts? Chloroplasts are the organelles which are found in the plant parts that are exposed to sunlight. And can you tell me which is the plant part which is exposed to sunlight? Obviously it is a leaf. Okay, so within the leaf you can find the chloroplast. Within the cells of the leaf you can find these chloroplasts. Then what is the connection between the sunlight and the chloroplast? Why they are found in the plant parts which are exposed to sunlight, and why they are not found in the plant parts which are not exposed to sunlight? So that's a very interesting question. That means there is a link between the chloroplast and sunlight, which we will be discussing. Before that, let us now discuss about the structure of chloroplast. They are lens-shaped, oval, spherical or discoid, or ribbon-like organelles having variable length of 5 to 10 micrometers and width of 2 to 4 micrometers. So the length will be 5 to 10 micrometers and the width is nearly 2 to 4 micrometers, and they appear in different shapes. Chloroplast may be oval, they may be lens-shaped or spherical. Okay, that's about the shape and size of chloroplast. Now let us talk about what are the components present in the chloroplast. Do you remember the structure of mitochondria? When we discussed about mitochondria, I told you that mitochondria consists of two layers, outer membrane and inner membrane. In the same way, chloroplasts also double membrane structures. They are made up of two membranes. Okay, they are membrane bound organelles, and how many membranes? Double, two membranes are there. And what are those two membranes? One membrane is the outer membrane, you can see here. One is the outermost membrane and the second one is the inner membrane. As there are two membranes present, it is called a double membrane bound cell organelle. And then the space between the two layers is called intermembrane space. The same thing we have observed in the case of mitochondria also. The space present between the two layers, for example, let me zoom in and show you. This is the outer layer of chloroplast. This is the inner layer. You can see here, this is the outer membrane, inner membrane, and the space that is present between the outer and inner membrane, that space is called intermembrane space. The space present in between the membrane, so it is called intermembrane space. Now, the space limited by the inner membrane of the chloroplast is called stroma. Now, let us find out what is present within the chloroplast. So, within the chloroplast, there is a viscous substance present, and that substance is called stroma. Okay, the liquid part within the chloroplast is called stroma. Then what do you find in the stroma? The stroma, it contains various enzymes, and most importantly and interestingly, the stroma also contains its own DNA and ribosomes. Right? So this we have seen in case of mitochondria. In mitochondrial matrix also we have found circular DNA, and we have also found 70S ribosomes. And I have told you that the presence of circular DNA and ribosomes makes the mitochondria similar to that of a prokaryotic cell. The same thing happens here within the chloroplast also. Within the liquid part called stroma, you can find DNA. You can find DNA and also ribosomes, which are 70S ribosomes. Okay, this makes this chloroplast also similar to a prokaryotic cell. That is why chloroplast also refers as a prokaryotic cell within eukaryotic cell. Right? So that's about the liquid part called stroma, and within the stroma there are so many enzymes, particularly the enzymes that are involved in the process of photosynthesis. They are found within the stroma. And what do you see in this picture in addition to the DNA and my ribosomes? In addition to that, you can also find several other structures. Let us talk about them. Okay, so stroma is a colorless. It is colorless part, and it is a protein-rich fluid present in the inner membrane of the chloroplast. Now you may get a doubt. If the stroma is colorless, why the chloroplast is appearing in green color? That's also an important thing to know, right? When the stroma is colorless, then where is that colored pigment is present? We will be discussing shortly. Okay, and what else is present in the stroma? And it also consists of protein-rich fluid. So proteins in the form of enzymes are present in the stroma. And what else do we find in stroma? In addition to the liquid part, you can see some special structures in this, right? Like 1 rupee, like currency coins, you can see some structures. Let us find out what are they. There are a number of organized flattened membranous sacs called thylakoids are present in the stroma. So in the stroma, there are several sac-like structures. You know, sac is nothing but a bag-like structure. You can see here, there are several bag-like structures. And how are these sac-like structures? They are flattened. Okay, they are flattened. You can see here, there is a sac-like structure. And what are these sac-like structures? These are called thylakoids. They are called thylakoids, and the thylakoids, they play a significant role during the process of photosynthesis. We will be discussing about that. Now, one more thing about chloroplast is that thylakoids are arranged in stacks like piles of coins. Can you see these thylakoids here once again? This is a thylakoid. This is another thylakoid. This is another thylakoid. Like that, how these thylakoids are arranged? These thylakoids, they are arranged one above the other. If you take 1 rupee coins and arrange them one above the other, how they appear? They also here appear in the same way. When these thylakoids are arranged into one above other, they form a stack or bundle-like structure. This stack of thylakoid is called a granum. You can see here, this complete bundle, these sac-like structures called thylakoids are arranged one above the other. So this stack of thylakoids is called granum. Granum is singular, grana are plural. So within the stroma of this chloroplast, you can see so many granum. This is one granum. There is another granum here, another granum here. There is one more granum. Like that, there are several grana are present within the stroma of the chloroplast. The space present within each thylakoid is called lumen. I told you that thylakoids are bag-like structures, right? When they are flattened bag-like structures, within them there may be some empty space present, right? So let me zoom in and show you that space to you. You can see this is the stack-like structure. This is a single thylakoid, and can you see this red colored area? It is represented with red color. It is not in red color. This empty space within this thylakoid, it is called lumen. This is called lumen. And what do you find in the lumen? Within the lumen, you can find water and some other enzymes that are required for the process of photosynthesis. They are found in this empty space of the thylakoid called lumen, right? And what else do you find? In addition, there are some flat membranous tubules called stroma lamellae connecting the thylakoids of different grana. Now look at the picture once again. You can see this is a stack of thylakoid. This is another stack. This is one granum. This is another granum. And you can see clearly that these two grana, they are connected to each other. You can see here. There is a membranous tube-like structure which is connecting one granum to other granum, right? This is called stroma lamellae. This is called stroma lamellae, or this is also called stroma thylakoid. And what else? On the membranes of thylakoid, several photosynthetic pigments, that is chlorophyll and other pigment molecules are present. So I told you previously that stroma is a colorless part of the chloroplast. Okay, then what is giving color to that plastid chloroplast? Chlorophyll. Then where is chlorophyll present? So far I did not show you where the chlorophyll present. So it is present on the surface of the thylakoids. I told you that these are thylakoids. Okay, the bag-like structures called thylakoids, which are flattened, and the surface of the thylakoid, it consists of several photosynthetic pigments, including chlorophylls, xanthophylls, okay, carotenoids, like that. All these, they are present on the surface of the membrane of this thylakoid, right? And ultimately, as all the thylakoid membranes consists of chlorophyll molecules, they appear green color, and altogether plastid, this chloroplast appears green color. Okay, so if somebody asks you what is the exact location of chlorophyll molecules in the chloroplast, then what do you say? They are present on the surface of the thylakoid membranes. Okay, so that's about the presence of chlorophyll. Now let us talk about the functions of the chloroplast. What is its important function? The most important function of chloroplast is photosynthesis. You have been studying about photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is a process in which simple molecules such as carbon dioxide and water, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, they will be converted to complex molecules such as carbohydrate, for example glucose, right? This process is called photosynthesis, and you have studied in your previous classes that photosynthesis is the only process which can prepare food. And what are the only type of organisms on this planet which can prepare food on their own by photosynthesis? Plants, right? Plants are able to prepare their own food. Then how the plants are able to prepare their own food? Why not animals? Because it is chloroplast responsible for that, and chloroplast is present only in the plant cells. It is absent in the animals. That's why animals cannot prepare their own food. They depend on the plants for their food requirements. And what happens during the process of photosynthesis? I told you that photosynthesis is a process where food is manufactured. And the chloroplast is able to do that because chloroplast, it has a pigment called chlorophyll. Okay, and chlorophyll can trap the energy present in the sunlight. Solar energy means the energy present in the sunlight. When the sunlight falls on the leaf, listen carefully, when the sunlight falls on the leaf, then the chloroplasts present in the leaf, they trap that sunlight, they trap the energy present in the sunlight, and they convert that energy into chemical energy, and then use that chemical energy to synthesize food material such as glucose. Okay, remember one point. For the plants to prepare the food material, they need raw materials. They need carbon dioxide, they need water. In addition to that, they also require one energy source to perform the photosynthesis and to prepare food. And that energy source is available through the sunlight. Now the question is how that energy is captured. How that energy is captured by the plant. The plants capture that energy with the help of chlorophyll. Okay, chlorophyll traps that solar energy, and chlorophyll can convert that solar energy into chemical energy. Later, that chemical energy will be consumed or used up to prepare the food material. This is how the chloroplast plays an important role during the process of photosynthesis and for preparing sugars. Okay, and as I told you that the chlorophyll absorbs light energy from sunlight and converts that into chemical energy, and that chemical energy later on will be used in the preparation of food material. So that's about the chloroplast and its functions. I hope that you understood, children. In my next class, I will explain about cell theory. Okay children, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.